Unit 6, day 3 bell ringers. So we're going to determine if they're going to be no solution. Started off bad. So if they have no solution, which means that they're going to be parallel. One solution means they're going to intersect, and infinitely many means that they're the same line. So when I go to part A, or the first question, I'm going to have to get it to slope-intercept form, and they're going to be the same line. So there's going to be infinitely many solutions because they are exactly the same. Part B, now this square root of 23 goes here, moved up when it was changed over. These are going to intersect, so they're both linear. They're not the same line. They're not parallel. So they're going to have one solution because they're going to intersect. And then when we evaluate the square root of 23, now this is what's important to the nearest tenth. If you do not pay attention to what you're supposed to round to, you're going to miss your problem. So in your blue calculator, you're going to do second square root, type in your 23, and that's going to round to 4.8. My video was not on. So this is your rotations, which is going to be our second transformation. And it tells what our third one, I'm sorry. The first one was your translation. The second one was reflection. The third one's going to be rotations. So a rotation turns a figure about a fixed point. So we're actually just going to turn it. Rotational symmetry, if you can rotate it 180 degrees or less and it exactly matches its original figure. That means when you turn it and you go 180, it gives you the same thing. Then the angle of rotation is the number of degrees. Okay, and this just shows you your center of rotation. Now, here's what's important. Clockwise goes to the right, counterclockwise goes to the left. Now, if it does not say, we go counterclockwise. If it does not specify. So if it doesn't tell you, you go counterclockwise. So it just shows you we took this shape and we continue to rotate it to 360, gave us the full circle. Okay, the first one, we're going to graph the image after a rotation of 90 degrees about the origin. Then name the coordinates of the vertices. So we're going to go 90 degrees. It did not tell us, so we're going to go counterclockwise. Which means we're going to take the shape and we're going to go to the left, which is going to take it and rotate it. So if we look at A, the A we have now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. B is going to be 1, negative 1. And C, 4, negative 3. So when I take one, it's going to carry A, is going to go to the second quadrant. This is your first quadrant, your second quadrant, your third quadrant, and your fourth quadrant. The first quadrant has positive, positive. The second quadrant has negative, positive. And the third quadrant's negative, negative. And the fourth quadrant's positive, negative. So I take A and I move over to the second quadrant. I'm going to have a negative and a positive. Now our rule is you're going to reverse the order pairs. And then when A goes over to the second quadrant, it's going to be negative, positive. So your A prime, you're going to reverse the signs. So it's going to give you 4, 5. The first one will be negative, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our A prime. So if you go 90 degrees, you're going to reverse and then look to see what quadrant that you're going to and adjust your signs. B is in the fourth quadrant, so it's going to reverse to the first quadrant when it goes left. So we're going to switch them. In the first quadrant, it's positive, positive. So there's B prime. C, we're going to switch, and so that's going to be 3, 4. So C is going to go to the first quadrant. So there's C prime. So we took it and we did a 90-degree rotation. Now when you're looking at your rotation, if you go through the origin, we're rotating about the origin. So if I took A and A prime and took them both back to the origin, that's going to give me 90 degrees. So it went 90 degrees. You could do the same thing with C and C prime. If you do C and C prime, C goes to here, goes to your C, and that gives you a 90-degree angle. So what happens is when you go back, see it's rotating around the origin. So when it goes to the origin to go to C or C prime, you're going to have a 90-degree angle. Okay, we're going to do a rotation of 270. Now, if we're doing 270, that means that we're going to go over 3 quadrants. Now, it did not say, so we're going to go counterclockwise. So if it tells you it's clockwise, it goes to the right. If it doesn't tell you, it goes to the left. So A is 3, 2. Now when we go to A prime, we're going to reverse the signs. And A is in the first quadrant, so when it crosses over 90, 180, 270, it's going to go to quadrant 4, which is positive, negative. So you're going to go positive, negative. So you're going to go 2, negative 3. So there's our A prime. Now remember, it's crossing 270, so that is 3 quadrants. Okay, B is going to be negative 3, 2. So when we go to B prime, it's crossing over 1, 2, 3. It's going to the first quadrant. So you're going to reverse. And so that one's going to be 2, 3. So there's our B prime. Okay, we're going to go to C. Now C is in the third quadrant. So it's negative 3, negative 2. C prime we're going to reverse. And they're both going to the third quadrant. So that's negative 2, negative 3. So there's my C prime. Then we're going to do D. D starts out 3, negative 2. So D prime we're going to reverse. And it's going to go over 1, 2, 3. It's going to the third quadrant. So it's going to be okay, C was negative 3, negative 2. So it crossed 1, 2, 3. C was supposed, C prime, I should put that in the wrong place. Okay, there's C. So I went negative 3, negative 2. So 1, 2, 3. It's going over here to the second quadrant, which is positive, negative. So it's going to be positive 2. Negative 2, positive 3. Okay, there it is. So there's your C prime. And then D was 3, negative 2. Oh, oh wait, I put them in the wrong location. That's what's wrong. Okay, let me go back and redo that when I change colors. I'm going to change this, because I think a lot of that's getting all, for me, all confusing when I put too many lines on it. So I'm going to take those lines off. All right, so we did A, started out 2, 3. No, 3, 2. So we reversed them. And so A went to the fourth quadrant, which was positive, negative. B was negative 3, 2. So we reversed, and B is going to go to quadrant A, so 2, 3. C started out -3, -2. So C prime, we're going to reverse those. And C is going over 1, 2, 3, so it's going to go negative, positive. So -2, 3. There's our C prime. And then D started out 3, -2. So D prime is going to go over 3, so it's going to go to 2 negatives. So it's going to go to -2, -3. Okay, there we go. So we just took it and made a 270 degree. We turned it 3 times and made a 270 degree rotation. Okay, now we're going to graph and then we're going to rotate. So we're going to start out with 1, -3, which is J. We're going to go 6, -2, which is K, and 6, -4. Okay, and so that one's going to be L, JKL. Okay, we're going to graph the images formed by rotating it 3 different ways, 90, 180, 270. So the first one, we're going to go to J prime. So J prime is going to be 90 degrees, and so we're going to be going to the left. So J started out 1, -3. So we're going to rotate those. We're going 90 degrees, so it's going to quadrant 1. So J prime goes to 3, 1, and it's going to everything's going to the first quadrant. So K, we're going to switch those. So that's going to go to 2, 6, and so that one's going to be K prime. L, we're going to switch those, and it's going to go to 4, 6. All right, so there's our L prime. I'm going to just, there, and then I'll do this one in red. So you can see that we took it, we made a 90 degree rotation. Now we're going to take the original, and we're going to do, now we're going back to the original every time on this one. And see, if you look at it and you go, what does that mean about the rotation? If I take J prime and J, that would give me a 90 degree angle when I connect those. That's what it means by 90 degree rotation. Now we're going to do a double prime. And I'll do that when we did red, blue. I'll do the double prime. I'll do that one in black. So that's going to give me J double prime. Now when we do 180, we keep them the same order and we reverse their signs. So that gives me -1, 3, and that's going to be J double prime. We're going to go to K. We keep them in the same order. And so that's going to go to, but we swap the signs, negative, positive. All right, so that's going to be K double prime. And then L, we're going to keep them in the same order, and they're going to swap signs. So -6, 4. So that was going to be L double prime. This one's going to be K double prime. I kind of got that offline. All right, so I'm going to go through and shade that one in. So that gives me 180. So if I were to connect J prime with J, see, that would give me a straight line, which is 180 degrees. Okay, then we're going to do 270. 270, we switch the order and decide what quadrant it's going to. So when I do 270, it goes to the third quadrant, which is negative, negative. So I'm going to go back. I'll do this one in green. So J triple prime, I'm going to switch the order, and they're both going to become negative. So there's J triple prime. Then we're going to go to K. We're going to switch the order, and they're both going to be negative. It's going to be triple prime. And then we're going to go to L. We're going to switch the order, and they're both going to be negative. So -4, -6. So that's going to be L double prime. Okay, so there's our third one. Uh-oh. I meant to highlight that instead of erase it. Let me go back and outline that. So if you look at that one, if we go from J to J prime, that's going to be a 200 to triple prime. Okay, so we did the first one, and then that. Okay, K to K, that's going to give me 270 degrees. So that's how you know the different angle measures. So we just took it and made a complete circle if we go back to 360. Okay, 7. We're going to rotate this one about the origin. So -4, -4, that's going to be J. We're going to do -4, -2 is going to be K. -1, 0 is going to be L. -2, -3 is going to be M. And now we're going to rotate it 180 degrees about the origin. Now 180 degrees, we keep them in the same order, and we reverse the signs. My turn. Okay, so -4, -4, -4, -2, -1, 0, and -2, -3. So J prime. Now because we're doing 180, we keep them the same, and we just change the signs. So it's going to be 4, 4. And that's going to be J double prime. K, we're going to keep them in the same order and reverse the signs. So this will be +4, -2. I'm thinking I graphed one of these wrong. -4, -4. Oh, yes, I did. I'm going to redo the original. Okay, so -4, -4 is going to give me J. -4, 2, I did not think that looked right. It's going to be K. -1, 0 is L. -2, -3 is going to be M. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be 4, -2. It's going to be K double prime, which will be right because we're going from the second to the fourth quadrant. I'm going to do this one in blue. Okay, then we're going to do L. We're going to keep the same order, and we just reverse the signs. Now, because 0 has no sign, we just leave that. So then we're going to do M prime. We're going to keep the sign, and we're just going to reverse those. So 2, 3. So that's going to give me my 180 degree rotation. Okay, now this time it tells us to go counterclockwise, but we've been going counterclockwise. So -3, 2 is going to be P. 6, 1 is going to be Q. -1, -5 is going to be R. It's going to be a pretty large triangle. Now we're going to take that and go 90 degrees. So we're going to switch the order, and it's going to go to the left. So when I go to P prime, I'm going to switch the order 2, 3, and P is going to go counterclockwise. It's going to go to the left to the third quadrant, so it's going to be -2, -3. When I do Q prime, I'm going to switch the order. Q is going to go to the second quadrant, so that's going to be negative, positive. And then R prime is going to go, we're going to switch the order, and R is going to be in the third, so it's going to go to the fourth quadrant, which is going to be positive, negative. So 5, -1. And that kind of went on top of the other, but it made a complete 90 degree rotation. And like I said, you can always go back and look where your Q goes back to the origin, and then it goes to the Q to Q prime. That gives me 90-degree angle. So that means we rotated it 90 degrees. And I'm not sure if I had my video on, my recorder on. So what I did, if I did not have it on, I took my order paragraph then, I switched the order, then looked to see what quadrant it goes to. And then when I connect those, C to C prime, B to B prime, and I go back to the origin because that's the way I'm rotating it, then it carries me back to, it's a 90-degree angle. And I showed you with the C and the C prime, when I go back to the origin, which I'm rotating it around, I get a 90-degree angle, and I went clockwise, which was to the right. Okay, this time we're going 90 degrees counterclockwise, which means we're going to go to the left. So we'll go ahead and get our primes. Well, we've got 2, -2, which is going to be our A. So when I go prime, I'm going to switch the order, which is just 2 and 2. But A, when I go counterclockwise and I go to the left, it's going to put it in the first quadrant. So I'm going to go to the first quadrant, and that's going to be my A prime. I probably should do one at a time because I'm having to change my colors back and forth. Okay, 4, -1 is going to be B. C is 4, -3. 2, -4. We have a trapezoid. Okay, then my primes. So when I go to B prime, I'm going to switch the order. B is going to go to the first quadrant, so 1, 4. There's B prime. C, I'm going to switch the order. It's going to the first quadrant, so 3, 4. And then D prime, I'm going to switch the order, so 4, 2. And for some reason, I grabbed the first one wrong. I'm struggling with my graphing today. I'm going to do this one in blue. So that's going to be A, B, C, D. Okay, there we go. And then we took it and we went 90 degrees counterclockwise, which carries it to the left. So it carries it to the first quadrant. And our rule for 90 degrees is we switch the order, look to see what the next quadrant is, and use those signs. So we have positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, negative, positive, negative. Okay, this time we're going 180 about the origin. So 1, 2, F, 3, 5, G, 3, 2, H. So when we go 180, we just keep the order the same and we change the signs. G is going to be, we're going to keep the same order and we're going to change the signs. So -3, -5. So that was F prime. And this is G prime. H, we're going to keep the same order and we're going to switch the signs. So -3, -2. And that's going to be H prime. So you can see what we did on this one. We just took it and made it a full 180-degree rotation. When you do 180, you keep the signs the same. You keep the order the same, but you just switch the signs to the opposites. So if you look at it, and if you remember, we said, okay, that gives us a 90-degree. If I take F prime and 180 back to the origin and go to F, we have 180 degrees. And we're rotating around the origin. Okay, 12, we're doing 270 clockwise. Clockwise is going to go to the right. So -3, 4, P. -1, 4, Q, -2, 1, R, -4, 1. It's going to be S. This time we're going to 70. So when you take it, and we're going clockwise, which is going to be to the right. So we're going to cross over 1, 2, 3, which is going to put us in the third quadrant. So we're going to be swapping the signs, and they're both going to be negative. So we're going to the right. And that was going to give me P prime. Then we're doing Q. We're going to swap the signs, swap the order. It's going to the third quadrant. So -4, -1, and that's going to be our Q prime. I do not know why I put, let me put it down here, P prime. That's kind of overlapping. Okay, then we're going to go to the R. We're going to switch the order. And -1, -2, and that's going to be R prime. And then we're going to do S prime. We're going to switch the order, and they're both going to be negative. So there's our S prime. So what we did was we took it, we made a 270-degree rotation. Now if you want to go back to the origin, if you go, okay, well I'm going to go back to the origin with R and then go to R prime. See, that moved it 270 degrees. Now, you could do or 90 degrees counterclockwise. So 270 degrees clockwise is the same as 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, we're going to write a rule that describes the transformation. So I know that the original figure is the one I'm going to shade the original with gray. And I know that because of the prime. So if I just go to J, my original J was 1, -1. Okay, J prime went to -1, 1. So what that did, if I want to trace it back to this 180 degrees. So clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. 180 degrees is 180 degrees in either direction. Because it went from, J went from the first quadrant to the third quadrant. So that crossed 2, so 90, 90, so that put me at 180. Remember, we just keep the order the same and we change the signs. Okay? Write a rule to describe the transformation. I am going to, this one did not have anything on it, so I'm just going to give this some letters. So I'm going to make this one a double prime. So we're just going to see what happened if I'm going to go from A. I meant to put the first one. Let's take off the primes on the first one. So we'll make that ABC. So I'm going to go from A to A double prime. So I'm going to go 90 degrees. I'm going to the right. So that's going to be clockwise. Or we could go 270 counterclockwise. So it did not have letters, so I just gave it letters. So that's a 90 degrees, because if I trace it back from A to A prime, I have 90 degrees. Okay, we're going to rotate this about the origin. We just have 2 more, and then we're going to translate it 6 right and 4 up. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to go about the origin. So it did not say which way, so we're going to go counterclockwise. So that means we're going to go to the third quadrant. So J starts out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 8. So J prime, we're going to switch the order, and it's going to the third quadrant. So negative 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, negative 10. Okay, so there's my J prime. All right, K started out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So when I go counterclockwise, I'm going to switch the order. It's going to the third quadrant. So negative 8, negative 6. And that's going to be K prime. Then we're going to go to L. L was 1, 2, 3, 6, 5. So go to L prime. I'm going to switch them, and they're both going to be negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be L prime. So you can see what's happening before we even do the last one. We can pretty much tell what it's going to be. I ran out of space. So M is going to be negative 10, 5. So I'm going to switch the order, and they're both going to become, so negative 5, negative 10. They're both going to become negative, so that's M prime. Now I'm going to take each one of those, and I'm going to translate each one 6 right, 4 up. So if I start with M, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be M prime. J, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I went 6 right. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's J prime. L, we're going 6 right, 4 up. Now, you can see when I did the translation, those are double primes, it stayed in the same order. When I did my rotation, my J's and K's and M's and L's all went to a different spot. But when I did a translation, they stayed the same, in the same order. Okay, last one. So we're going to reflect it across Y. Then we're going to reflect it across X. And then we're going to tell how we can do how we could have done that with a single rotation. So we're going to start with negative 2, 2. Okay, there is M. Negative 4, 2. There's N. Negative 4, 5. There's P. Okay? We're going to reflect it across Y. So that means we're going to count back to Y and count the other direction that many places. So N, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move this M over just a little bit. So there's M prime, and there's N prime. And P, we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's our first reflection. So what that one did is it reflected across Y. Okay, then we're going to reflect it across X. So we're going to take it here and we're going to reflect it across X. So let's do this one in green. So N, I'm going to go back 2, 2. So there's N double prime. P, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's our P double prime. And there's M double prime. So I'm going to, well, I did not mean to erase that. I meant to highlight it. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Let me go back and this time highlight it. Okay, and then it said, how could you have gotten that in one rotation? We could have done a 180 degree. Because what happened when I did P, the original P was negative 4, 5. When I went to P double prime, it went to 5, 4. And then you just changed the signs. So it changed the signs and then stayed in this, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it stayed in the same order. I just changed my signs. So I'm going to change it to 4, negative 5. So it stayed the same order. I just changed my signs. Okay, that was kind of a long one. And I'll post the fourth one tomorrow. But tomorrow we're going to work on Excels. So you have got all except for 6, 5. You know how to do all of your Excels, and that will just leave one that you're not able to do yet, and I'll post that one. Now that's the PowerPoint we're going to do Thursday.